And when MotoMan and I usually get together, we talk about Cadillacs. Today, MotoMan's at my house, and so we're going to take a look at the cars I have in my garage. So I have a particular fondness for Italian cars, and this one over here is probably the closest to my heart. I've owned it the longest. I bought this car in 1988 when I lived in Boston. It's a 1984 Alfa Romeo GTV6. And these cars were really special in their day. They were technically more advanced than a lot of the Supras and 280ZXs and so forth that they competed with in the market. It's a 50-50 weight distribution, front engine, rear wheel drive, has a transaxle in the back with inboard disc brakes and a Watts link and a DD-on axle. Very, very technical stuff for its day. It was equipped with a 2.5 liter V6. For the past 20 years or so, I've been using this as a track toy. So I pulled the 2.5 liter engine out and I put a 3 liter engine in from a Milano Verde. It adds about 35 horsepower. I've gutted the interior. It's got a 6-point cage in it, a Sparco racing seat, you know, 5-point harness. I've actually purchased the European bumpers, which were thinner and lighter weight than the US ones. I was trying to get weight out of the car. I fabricated my own cold air induction here and took one of the headlamps out, trying to extract a few more horsepower out of the engine. The suspension's all trick. It's got aftermarket springs, shocks, sway bars. I run R compound tires on it and some pretty heavy-duty brake pads and high-temp brake fluid and so forth. It's really quick on the track, and you know, it's not in perfect shape, but it's like a well-used hammer or a set of sneakers that you like. It's very comfortable to me, and it's sort of lived in. Next to the GTV6 is my Delta Integrale. It's a car I've always wanted. It's an icon. It's a cult classic around the world. 6-time World Rally Champion. 200 horsepower, all-wheel drive. Great fun to drive. It's like a go-kart. Love it. Absolutely love it. And it's the only gray car in the collection in this field of red. Next to it is my 1960 Alfa Romeo Giulietta Spider. This is what's known as a Normale because it has the single Solex carburetor. They also had a Veloce version, which was a higher performance model that had twin Weber carburetors. This particular car, my father purchased it in 1979 as a parts car for $300, and it sat in a shed until 1994. There were animals living in it. There was a boat on top of it. There were packs of shingles on it. And he was going to actually send it to the scrap yard, and I said, well, I'd like to have the car, and so he gave it to me. I brought it up, and I spent 12 years restoring the car myself. So it's a really nice car. They've gone up in value quite a bit, but this one's been with me since I was a teenager. Moving over to the cars over here, we have kind of an odd duck. These cars were not particularly loved in the US. It's known as an Alfetta sedan, 1975 model. It has the same chassis in it that you saw on the GTV6. Transaxle, rear-wheel drive, inboard disc brakes. This is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, double overhead cam. I bought this car on eBay for $1,600 and spent a few years restoring it. I lowered it, put aftermarket wheels on it, paint, interior, and so forth, and it's really a lot of fun to drive. And last but certainly not least, up in the air here is my 1988 and a half Ferrari 328 GTS. I say half because mid-model year 1988, Ferrari changed the suspension setup. They went to these convex zero offset wheels to help for dive under braking and so forth, better on-center feel for the steering. So it's a late model suspension. It's one of the last cars built. So it's a great car to drive. And it's all these cars have the common thread. Italian cars are very passionate. There's a common feel to the chassis and the powertrains and the way they drive, and I just absolutely love them. You know, I don't keep my garage super clean, as you can probably tell. It's a working garage. There's a tub of oil down there. There's a Goodyear banner that I stole from I borrowed from the Montreal Grand Prix in 1996. It was laying on the ground. They were just gonna throw it away anyway. Lots of junk along here. Here's a set of plug wires that I'm going to put on the Ferrari as soon as MotoMan's done shooting. And then there's this. I actually drew that back in 1995. It was a sketch for the Dodge Intrepid car that I worked on when I was a designer at Chrysler. And actually, I did the outside of that and Ralph Gilles did the inside. So I think Ralph Gilles is friend of MotoManTV. So 1959 license plate, goes on my Alfa Romeo. There's a piston from Don't even remember what that piston's from. One of these cars, I'm not sure. Actually, this may be an old Ferrari piston, but it's a nice little paperweight. Just variety of stuff. This is my sanctuary. I come out here in the winter, work on the cars, and just look around, and you know, it's what I do. So, welcome to my home.